Yo, 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 yo. I don't know if that's how we normally start, but I'm feeling like the yo-yo movement. Welcome to the first official That Helps No One Fantasy Cast on Area 51 Sports Network. Sure, Steve and I were here for a preview show, kind of getting you ready for your drafts. Still summer mode, I think. But it's for real now. I don't know if we're ready to do this. We are down a couple guys, unfortunately. Ted still isn't quite ready. Something about a heart surgery or whatever. I don't know. He's that weak excuse. And we did lose a good member of the show, Chris Phillips. I'm sure he'll be watching anyway. But, he did some life stuff, and we wish him all the best. I mean, it's not like he's dying or anything, but he will not be on the show this season. We do have a special guest coming on. He's a good time. He's a Minnesota Vikings fan.
Woof.
I mean, I don't really have a team, so at least he's dedicated himself to something. So
wait. I thought we decided last season that you were going to take the plunge, and before this season, you were going to pick a team, and you were going all in. I feel like we made a deal.
And what did I say that it was going to be?
Well, I don't think you did. I think it was one of those things like, "Hey, Ryan, we want you to commit. Stop being Mr. Not put a ring on it, and have a little commitment, okay? You're
I'm
married.
Committed to the show. Children. I'm even wearing technically we have merch, so I'm committed to this, I suppose. I don't know. I guess the Seahawks. The thing is,
the team.
Be
better.
So I guess the Titans and like I said, I have a bit of a history with them, but I don't know if I can wholeheartedly commit myself to a team because my heart won't be in it. You know what I mean?
You got to force your heart to be in it.
You're going to do this and you're going to
do it and you're going to love it. No, heart is love.
That's fair. Also, I'm trying to deflect here. Join the chat. If you would like to ask us a fantasy question, hey, if you want to ask us a fantasy question, we're here for you. We've actually, last year we finished pretty strong. I think we had some really good advice to give, and I think it helped out 3 people. So that's pretty cool.
And hey, if you want to just come on the show and you want to make Ryan super uncomfortable by saying what's under that caterpillar on his face, do that. It's okay.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. So let's get into a couple quick things. Like I said, follow the show on Area 51 Network. This is our first official show on here. We're going to have bangers this year. I promise. We're kind of going with the retro mode like we did for the Jim Coventry episode. I've been kind of trying to, feel that vibe. We've got some pretty cool stuff for our sleepy starters and sneaky ads. We're going to have to change those, I think, or sleepy ads, sneaky starts. We're going to have to change those.
We're going to have to retitle it, right?
I think so.
If Chris isn't sleeping on the show, then...
That's true. It just defeats what that was about. So that's fine. Drafts are done, I would hope. Actually, my coworker, so this is her first year in fantasy football, and it's a PPR league. And so I'm like...
Sorry, what does PPR stand for?
Oh, do I even have that? Shoot.
No.
What
a dumpster fire of a show this guy is putting together.
Okay. PPR.
Anyways, why don't you keep going?
Anyway,
I thought you were more on the ball kind of host, but
it's been a rough little bit. I can't even spell right now.
PPR. It's 3 letters, but
PPR means points per reception.
There we go.
That's a Ryan staple.
Oh,
There's
okay,
a few other.
Thank you.
Oh, I forgot the other one too. We'll get into that as well. This one. I'm sure we all remember this one, the split. So anyway, she's in a PPR league, in a Yahoo league, and I was asking her because I'm like, hey, I can help you draft prep because it's first year. And I'm like, is it a PPR or standard? And she's like, I don't know, it just says this. So I go on her app and I'm looking. I can't find a thing in there. She's like, I just know the draft is on Wednesday. I'm like, okay. So anyway, I find out an hour and a half ago. She's like, yeah, it's PPR. Should I be taking Bijan? I'm like, well, if she has a second pick, I'm like, well, if somehow McCaffrey's there, he's the obvious choice. I said, Tyreek would be the next. She goes, what about CD? I said, if Tyreek is still there at 2 and CMC is gone, said one of these guys is likely going to have a better season. I know CeeDee Lamb is no slouch, but if you had to pick, I mean, who would you pick? You're going Tyreek.
No, I
Really?
probably wouldn't go.
No
Yeah,
way.
I probably wouldn't go Tyreek.
Who would you go with
I,
two? That's a tough one. I get it.
yeah, you know what? I don't
Would you
like
go on
second.
maybe?
I would pick Justin Jefferson still because he's the
Oh,
most talented player. They find ways to get the ball in his hands. He's the focal point of the offense. He's still 24, 25 maybe years old. I love Justin Jefferson,
I
and I
know.
don't say that much about LSU guys, but I think he does have that type of upside to be the best player in fantasy football. But I mean, if you have Tyreek, if you have CeeDee Lamb, if you have Justin Jefferson,
Like we're splitting
throw
hairs, right?
Jamar Chase in there, you're
Yeah.
literally it's going to be the difference of like 20 fantasy points over the course of the year. So I don't think there's a bad pick there. It's just
Yeah. We're probably splitting here. Anyway, I said go Tyreek. Again, I'm going on the Tua kind of factor, and that I think their offense as a whole makes more sense. But again,
yeah.
that's where my heart lies.
And this is just a one and done kind of league. There's no keepers involved.
It sounds like it. I can't imagine that they're like that. We've also started our Pick'em League at work. This is year 4, I think. We've added a few more people, so it's a $200 pot this year instead of $180.
Nice.
Bragging rights. When you can trash talk your boss, it's the best. Like
all the time.
It's the best. It's
the
so
best.
much fun. So everyone's handing in their picks this morning, and I'm just grinning. I'm like, we're here.
We're
in
doing it.
Season. Yeah, I just can't wait.
It.
Next thing you know,
we're like 21 hours away from NFL kickoff, and I am jazzed up.
Like it's a special time of year. Like for me, this first like sports week of just craziness. I just love. I mean, my kids have sports again. I mean, what's going on there? My kids have sports again. Like my daughter and I have our birthday on the weekend there. So like we've got ball on the weekend. Like there's all these things going on, and it's just like this absolute mess of stuff. And I'm so here for it. I cannot wait. So, and like the NFL, like what better than to spend your birthday watching a plethora of football games? There's no better way. And then playing live sports.
I mean,
finish it off.
I wouldn't know, being my birthday's in the summer, unless I'm like watching BC Lions football. But
I mean, it's
close. There's something magical about Sundays when NFL football is back. You wake up and you're like, I got my whole day planned of doing absolutely nothing. And even if I have other plans, like I'm still, like you said, maybe you have baseball, maybe you're going to the depot. I don't know, but football is at your fingertips. Someone else in the, at the depot is talking about their fantasy team. Someone on your baseball team is talking about their fantasy team. It's become this like almost like global phenomenon where you come across people, you're like, I didn't know you watch football. They're like, I don't. I just gotten into fantasy football. I pick players and I follow how well they're doing. And it's kind of it's pretty cool that it's reached this many fans.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So we had our the one I run, the Whistleblowers League. That was a draft last night. It took a while.
Oh my gosh.
It was mistakes were made. Let's put it that way. So a couple questions I've got for you, because I think we can officially talk about this. What are too many spots? Like how many spots on a full roster is too many? What's like too many on the bench and keepers? So like we've got 4 keepers and a rookie. I think next year we go down to like 4 total keepers and of whatever. I think we limit the bench probably by like at least 3, because I think we have like a 6 or 7 bench right now. Like our waiver wires, like if like that's why this show is so much fun. Like if the deep dives, that's where you're finding gold in our waiver wire, because the last 5 rounds of our draft last night, like if you guys went to auto draft, like I don't even know the players at this point. So you're just you're throwing darts at that point.
I think it depends on what level of football fans you have in the league. Okay, I'm part of a few different leagues. I've got one through work where people are literally like, I'll just auto draft. People aren't even setting their rosters, you can probably be pretty short on the bench.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not going to be keepers or anything like that.
Probably an easier one to win too.
Surprisingly, it's harder because
I
you're
guess
hoping on someone to win in a matchup, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even start anybody." I think as you get more true football fans, people that are following all the time, people that are, always scouring the waiver wire, I think that's where you need bigger rosters, bigger keepers. Now, what is too many? I would probably agree. Like
what we have.
What we have is a little much.
Yeah.
I think you always start with lowering bench and maybe look at how many people you're starting every week. Because if you lower those together, right? If you take your bench and you cut that in half, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, then you're running into like injury problems, and it's just this constant turnover. So I think if you take a bench spot away, you take a starting roster spot away. That frees up two people. Two people go to the waiver wire, and it's still proportional to how many people you need to roster. I mean, I messaged you yesterday. I was like, I would be cool with 4 keepers. Get rid of the rookie craze. It was kind of fun for a while.
Yeah, I think it's run its course.
Yeah, there's also something about a league where you're with a whole bunch of buddies where you are thinking, what is this? Our like year 11?
I think we're in year 10 or close.
10?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no like end in sight, right? You've got buddies who you're just like, I've been on this fence line of like not wanting to play for the last like 3 or 4 years, but I'm with all my buddies, chuck 40, 50, 60 bucks in. I don't really care. Just to connect with.
I change it on you every year just to keep you honest.
Yeah, I don't really care.
You're the only one.
I'm the only one that actually pays for it, so that's okay.
We're still waiting on one person.
So I think when you have players who know the game really well, I like the keeper spots being a little better.
Yeah.
Because it lets you build like almost like a dynasty of a team going forward. And if you're smart with it, that's when you get into like the younger players versus the older players. Am I going all in right now? Am I? Yeah.
Fair. Welcome to the show, Maddie.
Thanks. Are you guys talking about Updog?
What's up, dog?
Oh, nothing's up. What's up with you?
Wow, this was a short episode. How you doing, big guy?
I'm great, thank you.
So we were just talking about what's too many bench spots, what's too big of a roster, because we just finished up the Whistleblowers draft last night, and the draft took a while. Usually it's like most drafts can go like 20, 25 minutes. I think we were a solid hour and then some, and because the draft was like probably 5 or 6 rounds way too long anyway, and then you add your keepers and everything, I think everyone had to drop 4 players after the draft because it was too long. So you can imagine we just wasted probably 20 minutes on the last 4 rounds that no one even kept the guys they drafted. So like, what are your opinions on that?
I mean, I think a little bit depends on how big your league is, but so our Acro one is a 16-team league.
That's true.
So by the time you get to round 5, you're deep.
Yeah.
So last year, I think we had 6 bench guys, and I'm talking like there are dudes on other players' bench, and I'm no historian of football here, but I know enough to know most of the players in the league, and there's dudes that you're like,
that guy
some
doesn't
of them are
exist.
carrying extra defenses just to hold a roster spot.
Yeah.
Just to fill it. So this year we actually only have one bench player.
Yeah, it's gonna be chaos. I already had Ricky Pearsall. I'm like, dude gets shot, and I'm like, I actually have to drop him. Like I can't even keep the guy because I can't afford to keep him. So
yeah, it's wild. It's gonna make free agency fun. So the rule is you're not allowed to load your team up for one bye week either. You can't like just say
you have to have a legit lineup.
The Wong specialty.
So we're gonna have it'll make free agency fun. It'll reward the people who are actually doing their homework, which is great. But
we're doing a full reset next year too, I was told. So
yeah. So
that'll be fun, which is going to suck because, I mean, me starting off, I started off our draft having Lamar, Bajan, and CMC as my keepers. I'm like, I don't even have to draft for the first 2 rounds. I'm fine. Like I've already probably won half my week in week 1. So it's yeah, we were just kind of getting to it because that draft last night, a few eyes were opened. Let's put it that way. So, Maddie, have you had some good drafts so far? How many leagues are you in, buddy? Just one?
Just one. Yeah.
Were you busy or something?
I'm a one league guy because I really hate cheering against my own team because I got that dude in the other league, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard enough to have somebody play against my Vikings and want my team to not totally dominate, you know? I never have owned a Packer ever once.
Well, that's probably fun.
15 years of playing, so
yeah. Well, I mean, you've never had Aaron Rodgers ever?
No. Literally never.
Jordy Nelson?
Nope.
Donald Driver?
No, the closest was who was the other? Greg Jennings when he was a Viking.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Hey, people got to eat.
Now I can pick you.
Yeah, people got to eat, right?
Wait till you're washed up.
So this was
nice. Nice
I
play.
just want to finish up on draft stuff. So 2 more things. So depending on the app you use or how your internet connection goes, your draft can kind of suck sometimes. I'm speaking at one person in specific this year. I mean, so Ted and I also run the PP1 podcast. Shout out to that show starting again soon.
Well, no free advertising.
Hey, listen. I sent the link. I can do what I want. So, yes, have we had some internet problems here and there? Sure, it's fine. However, when you start getting into blaming, how shaky the app that you're drafting is, or the queue, or combination of internet, or a few different things. Maybe it's not all those things. Maybe it's you. And Ted, I wouldn't have drafted this guy. I'm like, well, if you were properly prepared, I mean, was the queue maybe a little bit wishy-washy? Sure. Then you just unload your queue and you figure out your internet. But come on. We've got months to prepare for these things. No? Yes?
Okay, so I think I know what you're
not
talking
a bad
about.
draft because of that stuff?
Yeah, okay, so in our case, which I think the one you're talking about, between
it's actually not.
It's not that one?
But go ahead, please.
That's one too.
That's
it's on Sleeper.
Yes. Yeah.
And with a 30-second draft clock
Yeah.
and a bit of a janky interface for the queue.
Sure.
Absolutely had 2 or 3 draft picks that I was not planning to have. Had the queue filled up, somebody went and didn't go. I also was using it on desktop instead of my phone, which is on me. I should have been more acquainted with the desktop version. But yeah, I absolutely think there is.
Now that one was a little crazy because it wasn't even 30 seconds. It felt like we had 15 seconds and then a pick went. So yeah, that draft was definitely, I mean, I was making picks. I'm like, okay, you have to be on this. I cleared out my queue. And also for whatever reason, the keepers showed up even on the show drafted thing. So it really screwed because I was trying to set my queue. I'm like, oh, well, that guy's available. And I tried hitting him like, oh, he's actually a keeper. So it kind of screws you up. But, you can only blame your tools for so long is what I'm trying to get.
Yeah, I get it.
So because we haven't played any games yet, we don't have any THNO stars yet. So this is the only episode where we don't have clips of guys that screwed our team last week. So we're going to bypass that. But I promise you, we are going to be okay. So in lieu of not having THNO stars, we have a new segment. And I think we're going to add this regardless. And Matt, you don't know about this, but you are going to slay it because, dude, you're just one of my favorite people. So Maddie and I, we go way, way back. Again, another Jersey City guy. But when it comes to naming random football players, I swear I just has an encyclopedia just waiting to go. So we're going to call it Name That Player. You pick 3 players, and we'll go in a circle. And any past or present, just random guys. It's the most fun. I'm going to start out myself with Alfred Morris. Steve, who do you got?
Big Elf.
Yeah.
So Ryan literally threw this on me today saying, Matt knows Ryan pretty well and vice versa, which is why they both know they're going to do really well. This isn't really my forte. I'm not really a pull up a random player nostalgia reason. So I hate this segment, but I'm gonna try my best, and I even let into it. It's not my forte, Matt Forte.
Oh, okay.
Loved
So we're
drafting
sticking
that
with
guy.
running backs to start.
Love drafting that guy.
Yeah, and Ted loves it when I draft him too, or trade for him. He needs to show up somehow.
Since this is a Canadian broadcast, and every sports broadcaster has to bring up Canadian Connection for who the hell knows why.
Yeah.
Mine are all gonna be CFL themed.
Oh, jeez.
See,
I'm gonna
go with Kerwin Bell to start. A brief stint in the NFL, mostly known for his spike in the end zone that hit himself in the sack. But
man,
big Kerwin Bell guy.
Wow.
I feel like you knew Matt was coming on the show before you made this segment. Like,
no,
if there was one person aside from you, Ryan, who is perfect for this segment, it's Matt.
So we'll discuss this off the air, but I promise you no. This happens to work in his favor. And I forgot we were doing this too. I'm gonna stick with one of my favorites from, I believe this was on Christmas Eve. Brandon Stokely down the sideline. That was a Greg what's his pickle that called that one? Stokely down the sideline. That was a good one.
I'm just racking. I'm trying to think of conversations we've had in Jersey City about different players, and one of my all-time favorite conversations with our buddy James Rayburn was, if you need someone to get you 3 yards, he'll get you 3 yards. If you need someone to get you 4 yards, he'll get you 3 yards. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. One of my favorite lines from James Rayburn.
Yeah, that's a great one. I don't think we're going to top that one.
No, Kerwin Bell. That is
Kerwin Bell that's reaching into the bag. That's like the way to like the ugly candy that's fallen out.
That's good. Maddie, who do you got, buddy?
And the Pride of Saskatchewan, Weston Dressler. He was a practice squad guy. I did pick him in fantasy once with my very last pick.
Yes, you did.
Everybody's left the draft basically, except for the 3 guys who've been drinking the most. And that's all that matters in that case. Someone knew it happened, so it happened.
That was the inaugural whistleblowing unicorns, Mr. Irrelevant. I will never forget. I will not confirm nor deny whether I was one of the 3 still on, but I remember seeing that pick and just dying, being like, Matt, what are you doing? And Matt has inspired me to make hilarious Mr. Irrelevant picks whenever I get them. Great.
Well, last year, I think that was probably like one of my best Mr. Irrelevant picks. Puka Nakua worked out pretty decently. So
yeah, it's not funny though.
It's just not funny, but it was funny, awesome because it worked out. But
like the year Brady retired, but was still like able to be picked up in fantasy, I made Tom Brady Mr. Irrelevant.
Oh, that's right. Did we ever draft Casey Printers?
I don't know. I don't think we did.
I feel like he might have been a draft. I'm gonna go
Chief Casey Printers.
Yeah, that's right. You got it. Yeah, you got it. Just couldn't figure out their offense. I'm going to go with, I had 2 choices, but I'm going to go with the guy that most people just can't pronounce his name. Most fake fantasy football comedy shows can't even get his name. But TJ Hushmanzili, TJ Huzmazood, TJ Hushmanzada.
The Hushmazoo.
Hushmanzood.
Great.
Proud Cincinnati Bengal, proud Seattle Seahawk, and he probably played for a few more teams too, but I don't bother to look. So TJ Hushmanzili is my third random guy.
Nice. I'm gonna go with somebody who I looked so dumb drafting him year after year, thinking like he had a really good year. The year I drafted him as a rookie, I felt so freaking smart drafting him. every year for the next 3 years. I'm like, nope, he's going to come back. He's going to do it. Teach me how to Dougie Martin. The muscle hamster himself. I had so much hope for that guy to just be a repeat every year, and man, did I look dumb for year after year drafting him. Usually in the first round.
That was a tough one.
Yeah.
So much promise.
Where on the list of worst nicknames does Muscle Hamster go?
Like
it's so
you know,
bad.
you're giving yourself a nickname, the Muscle Hamster. You're like,
Can I do that? We'd prefer that someone else picked it for you, sir.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, we remember it, so it must have been a good one.
Yes.
You know,
I
if
don't
it's
think
a
a
bad
lot of
nickname,
people have nicknames. Like, not a lot of people give themselves nicknames like that anymore, I don't think.
Yes.
T.O., he's done it.
The final would be probably the best CFLer of kind of the last 25 years to make the NFL
I know who
jump.
this is.
Former British Columbia Lion, Cameron Wake.
Nice.
I'm glad you went there. I thought you were going to go Warren Moon, but I'm glad you went Cameron Wake. Derek Cameron Wake, actually.
Oh, well,
Fun fact. It's Cameron is his middle name.
Stupid nickname. That's worse than Pocket Hamster. Or Muscle Hamster.
Pocket Hamster.
That's my nickname. Sorry. Shoot.
And 2648 is where we're clipping that one. Perfect. Perfect. I love it.
Timestamp it.
Oh, man. Thank you for coming in. So, again, we don't have THNOs. Thank you, guys. That was a lot of fun. So, like I said, we don't have THNOs, but we're still going to add, because you've had your drafts, but maybe you're still scouring, the waiver wire, free agency. So we're going to get into sleepy ads. Do we remember this, folks? We do. Actually, that's the wrong one. Here we go. Let's go. Let's remember how to do this, Rye. Steve, I've got you as the first guy. Maddie, I know you don't really have this, but you can pick one. Steve, you go first. Who is going to be your sleepy ad? So what sleepy ads are, folks, for the people that are just tuning in for the first time, these are guys that you're going to, sleepily add to your bench that may pay off maybe a week from now. They might even pay off this week if you have to start them. But basically, they're just, you're kind of just, pocket hamstering yourself in there for possibly a week or two from now, and hoping that this player may pay off. What do we say? Like 4 to 6 points, basically, is kind of like something that would be a success, or what do we deem it? Because we have awards at the end of the year, so we should probably have like a criteria for this, Steve.
Well, we basically started off by year one, Ryan saying a sleepy ad is Najee Harris, and he got absolutely roasted, saying it was either a start or an ad or something. And so over the years, we've really leaned into that and basically saying
that is actually a sleepy ad now.
Yeah, these aren't like your starters. It's not like, oh, go add Christian McCaffrey if he's on the waiver wire, because that's not going to happen, right? These are, and I like throughout the year they get just more lotto ticket styles. Like they get so ridiculous where you're like, okay, they're rostered in like one league in 55 million leagues.
Yeah.
So it should be some sort of sleepy ad, not like, oh, go add a starting running back. So my person is rookie wide receiver for.
I don't like that pick already, Steve. Whoever you said.
Matt is angry with that pick.
Yeah, he didn't even get to say it. Who was it?
Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry. Rookie wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins, Malik Washington.
Okay.
So does he have value this week? No. That's why he's not a start. Does he have value for the season? Maybe. Just maybe. What I'm looking for in deep stashes this early in the year has nothing to do with the aforementioned caterpillar on Ryan's face, but it has more to do with a dynamic player who plays for a high-powered offense. I looked earlier today. I think he's rostered in just 4% of sleeper leagues. He's not going to be the number one with Tyreek there. He's not going to be the number two with Jalen Waddle there. Probably not even going to be the number three because they like to use their running backs. But if either of those guys has an injury or they have to miss significant time, or if a dynamic player starts to show that he can play and score and be dangerous with the ball in his hands, they're going to get it to him. So if you have room on your roster, maybe you were drinking too much in your league and you picked up Weston Dressler if he's still available.
I don't even think he
You've
plays.
sobered up now. You've seen the light. Time to shed some of those really poor, like 15th, 16th round picks and add some of these guys who could have some value. So Malik Washington.
That's a good choice. That's a decent choice. I went in a different direction. And I think you're going to like what I have to say here. So I don't have any percentages for you because I didn't bother to get into it. Forget the offspring. I got full Audric Esteem love right here. The Broncos backfield, I'm going to just let that soak in for a second. Sometimes
Matt's dog wasn't barking like in my face still.
He's smiling and that's all that
he's
smiling. That's what he got that. He likes the deep dive. Yeah, that's some of my better work, that's for sure. Like I said, the Broncos backfield, it's got some things. Steve tried to get me to love it a couple years ago for Cooper Kupp. I'm glad that worked out well for him. They don't give me a whole ton of belief in their system. So maybe stash this guy away if you can. I have been right before. I'm not a big Javonte Williams fan, and I do not like Jaleel McLaughlin. So I'm telling you to get Audric Esteem. They like him in Denver. I think he's going to get opportunities. We all know with running backs that sometimes it's just the random guy that just breaks out and dominates. I'm not saying he's going to dominate. You could probably get him in any single league because I think I picked him up in like the last 5 rounds, which probably half the draft was probably auto draft anyway. He's a guy, keep your eye on him because I do think he's going to be one of those guys that actually might have some value. Not necessarily the first couple weeks, but again, you know how backfield works, especially in a system that maybe doesn't dominate. I mean, the Broncos definitely have been a cluster the last couple seasons. It looks like hopefully they're getting themselves figured out now with, Bo Nix, but tough to say. So I don't know. Audric Esteem, he's going to be my sleepy ad this week. Matthew?
He's rostered in 10% of sleeper leagues already.
For real?
He's started in 1% of sleeper leagues as well, which...
Never mind. So apparently I'm already...
I don't know what our numbers are where we cut the, if they're rostered in 50% of leagues or 60% of leagues. I don't really care. I like that pick. It's those shot in the dark picks of a young kid who could surface in the first 2 weeks, Kyron Williams style.
Man, it's with the run game. It's one thing with receivers. I mean, you really have to hit on some receivers. But with running backs, like you can get lucky on any week. And sometimes those guys end up being the starter. I mean, how many guys have we seen just out of nowhere become absolute bell cows and, you've got their jersey within a year. So I'm not saying that. Oh, nice. That worked out well. I like that. Do I have one of those? I got a Nintendo.
Cool.
That'll work. Maddie, do you have any sleepy ads that you'd like to add to this?
Yeah, and Steve may fight me on this one, or he may say that's a great choice. I'm going to go Justice Hill. Derrick Henry is a monster, but he's also getting there in age. I had in our 16-team league, I had Justice Hill as my third string running back last year for a few games. And he can catch the ball. He's elusive. He's a pretty good red zone guy when he gets the opportunity. And then he can do those kind of 30-yard chunks every once in a while. He might get stuffed 3 in a row, but next series, when he's given opportunity, I think he's a pretty good guy to have. I don't typically believe much in handcuffs, but
that's not what I heard.
Well, I was drinking. I drafted Weston Dressler. I think he'd be a good ad.
I love it. Man, just doesn't skip a beat, this guy. I love it. And again, Ted's not on the show. Otherwise, we'd have a fourth one. So we're going to roll right into our next segment. This is Sneaky Starts. And that works good enough. We're going to go into Sneaky Starts. So this, again, for people that don't know, and feel free to throw in your fantasy questions or just say hello. We're on Twitch. We're on YouTube. We're on Area 51's YouTube and Facebook. we're a little bit everywhere. So feel free to drop in a comment if you like. So sneaky starts. These are the ones where you're probably, again, these are basically lottery tickets, or they're basically lottery tickets. You're going to throw in somebody this week because you have to. So Maddie, like, I mean, this year for us in that 16-team league probably isn't going to be as sneaky because there's going to be some pretty valuable talent sitting on the waiver wire every single week because of how that league's set up. But for a lot of other leagues, that's not necessarily true. So this one, again, you're going to be looking for a guy that is going to hopefully get you, in that, 5 points to 7 points is probably going to be awesome for you. That would be, I would say, a quality start anywhere in that 5 to 7. That's kind of how we do the awards at the end of the year. So if you can hit on one of these sneaky starts, I think you're going to be pretty happy with yourself. Steve, why don't you lead it off again?
How many NFL wide receivers have been named Mike Williams?
2.
Quite a few.
Yes.
There is Rainy Mike and Sunny Mike.
At least 3 that I can think of.
Okay. Wait, there's a third one, and yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I don't really care about the rest of them. All I care about is the Jets throwing the ball to a big body target. Aaron Rodgers loves doing that. Matt knows that. He'll never pick any of those players. You could pick Aaron Rodgers now. That's so.
I can't
that's
have
so
it.
nice.
I won't.
You can, but yeah.
His beard's the same as yours.
It is
Mom-
gray.
Oh yeah.
Pretty close. It's pretty close. Same color anyway.
I just think the double focus is going to be on Garrett Wilson all season. It should be. They're going to have to stack the box against Breece Hall. Aaron Rodgers, like I said, loved throwing the ball outside the numbers. Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, Donald Driver, more inside for Driver. I think this is a guy that could rack up 8 to 10 touchdowns over the years. I think it was like 2021 when Mike Williams had his top 10 wide receiver fantasy years. He's 29-ish, I would say 29, 30. So he's getting a little up there, but he has all of those skills where if I'm going to start somebody in a flex spot, especially like, I didn't have picks in the first, second, fourth, 6th, 7th, 8th, like my draft was a disaster. I'd forgotten that Mike Williams signed with the Jets. All of a sudden he was sitting there and I'm like, you know what? That's a great, like, just random pick. I think he's only being started in like 4% of sleeper leagues or something like that. I have belief that he will at least get me 50 yards. I'm just hoping on the touchdown or like a big play on top of that. So Mike Williams. I'm
going to double down on our preseason show. And I did pick him up again. He is, and now this is crazy considering what has been said about him publicly already. 0% rostered, which means obviously 0% started. The guy looks like a dude from one of the Key and Peele or Keegan. What's it? Key and Peele? Is that right?
Yeah.
Their football skit. He looks like a kind of a mocha Jordan Winting. He looks like a mocha Bob Marley, basically. Jordan Whittington is going to be, as Sean McVay says, a factor. I got to watch him a little bit in preseason. I am telling you, folks, it's possible to go back to the well and be right. He is going to be Puka 2.0. I am calling it this season. The Rams are going to hit twice in the same position at wide receiver. This is going to be a guy, he had like a monster preseason. One of the games was against Dallas, which really doesn't say much because Dallas sucked in the preseason. His preseason, ended the preseason with 11 catches, 126 yards. The guy was getting the ball. I didn't see what his targets were, Steve. I know that's your thing.
Didn't watch any preseason. I don't like
No, but I know targets are your big thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be a guy that is going to factor in that offense for sure. Again, is he going to be one of their main targets? Probably not. He's going to be a guy they're probably going to have to slowly work into an offense. But if Sean McVay, everybody knows like that guy's kind of hyped up on guys. If he's excited about him, you're going to see him in their offense. And they like to throw the ball and they like to make big plays. And I think now that everybody's figured out Puka, there's going to be a little, and obviously the run game as well. they're going to have to add another target that's going to have to make a difference on that team. And I really, really like what they've been talking about Jordan Whittington. And I do think Lightning is going to strike twice out in LA. That's my pick. You don't have to love it, but you're going to like it. Everybody's like very like droll about this. Like, hey, you can read, Ryan. Maddie, do you got to start?
Okay.
I don't think you actually can.
We'll start him this week is what I'm saying.
Remind me, this is just for this week?
This would be a this week start. So they're against Detroit. He's going to get more than 1 point. So I think he could easily get 40 yards. I mean, PPR, you're going to get a catch and 40 yards for sure. They might even give him a short catch in the red zone. All of a sudden, guys up to 7 or 8 points. Excuse me.
Jordan Whittington in standard leagues is projected to get 1.16 points.
I know, and I think
and I'm just going to publicly call Ryan out right now. Ryan has him in Whistleblowing Unicorn League, and
they're not even factoring
starting him. You are not starting him. So I want Ryan to put his money where his mouth is. He's got spots there. I will update you guys next week whether Ryan is a man of his own advice.
Okay.
I am starting Mike Williams. We'll see if he starts.
Okay. No. Hey, you know what? You're absolutely right. I'm going to take out Xavier Leggett. I don't even know how to say his name. And yeah, screw it. Let's go. Rock and roll. He is now he's now on my roster, and I will be back next week to prove to everybody that I finally, after what season are we in? 4?
Yes.
3 or 4. I don't even know. That I'm finally hitting home runs here. Okay. I'm not just clicking go live on the top of my screen here. I'm bringing value. I'm bringing substance to the show. I mean, once every 16 weeks works out for me. So, Matt, do you have a sneaky start that you could offer our viewers?
I'm going to go with one that maybe is dependent on the league again, depending on how you count him as a player. Also, I have 6% on my computer and my charger's at work because this was a last-minute call-up. So I'll probably die here in about a minute or two. Taysom Hill. They're playing Carolina. Carolina's trash. We've talked again and again about using him better. He was the 6th ranked, at least in our league, 6th ranked tight end last year.
That's so garbage.
I think they could go up like 30-0 at half, and they just let him pound away, try their trick plays. I mean, he gets touchdowns every second week, and in our league, he is a tight end and a quarterback. So you get points from both.
He's the Dexter McCluster of 2024.
Yeah, he doesn't text and drive, like Dexter McCluster told us not to.
Deep dive.
The best jersey you own, by the way. Yeah, that's fine. It's a sneaky, weird pick, but
Taysom Hill. If you need
5 points, you need 5 points. There's a good chance you're getting it.
Is he better than Doug Martin?
Yeah, he's. So I'm 4%. So I'm going to leave my presence felt with that one. Thank you guys for having me. I would actually love to join these in the future if I don't get 45 minutes notice.
It was a short week. We're the Thursday game. Thanks, Maddie. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, Matt.
Take it easy. Oh
my God, that's
good people. Maybe should we add Matt to the show?
You know what? When you said Matt's coming to the show, I thought about what you said earlier with your let's just say random players. And I was like, okay, if there's somebody on par or maybe even better than Ryan, it's Matt. The only other person that could fit into that category would be Ted, and Ted will be back.
Yeah. It's a good segment though, right?
How about this, Ryan? You know how much I dislike that segment because that's not my Matt forte. If you get Matt on the show, you grease the wheels, you pull him in, we'll make it a thing. I
know you're not going to like if it's just you and me for a couple weeks. So.
Well, yeah. I think if Ted's here and I think Matt's here,
you'd be like
be
Christian
really funny.
McCaffrey.
For those of you listening to this, maybe hit Ryan or I up on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, or Area 51, and let us know. Like if you guys think that stuff is entertaining and funny, like Ryan does, let us know and we'll keep doing that. It was actually more fun than I thought it was going to be.
It's so funny. So I actually left a couple guys off, but this is why we're going to do it every week. So honorable mention, I was going to do Matt Schaub, just so you know. Just it was a name.
I'm not even saying mine because it's harder for me to come up with those.
But if you prep it,
randomness things.
if you prep it, like I think back to the first year I played fantasy, and there were some names like going back. I was looking this morning at some names. I'm like, oh yeah,
they were a thing.
Like I'll throw it over Tavon Austin. Not Tavon Austin. Miles Austin. Sorry.
Oh,
not Tavon Austin. No one cares about Tavon Austin. Yeah,
Miles Austin, like Tony Romo. You always drafted him in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round, and they always produced for it. They were never a top 5 player, but they were never under like a 25 player.
Miles Austin was probably on a ton of fantasy championship teams.
Yeah. Like I tried drafting that guy every single year because he would always slide because he was underrated.
Well, everybody kept trying to go for freaking what's this pickle? Throw up the X. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Des Bryant. So, if you were on the hype train of Des Bryant, which I tried making work for like 3 years and I finally gave up on that, Miles Austin was always there. Yeah. He was always there, and he always scored points, and he usually beat you. Like, if you face him in a week, you're usually losing. For whatever reason, Miles Austin was just a guy. He was Mr. Automatic. Him and Jason Witten. My goodness. What a stacked little lineup that was. So
yeah, you could draft the Cowboys, like just have a whole team of Cowboys, and you're probably going to go deep into the playoffs. You're never going to win anything there.
Kind of like the real Cowboys.
Kind of like the real Cowboys. They're just like mega dependable. Mm-hmm. Weird, strange.
Yeah, it is funny. There's certain like rosters that you could think like, oh, I could have any one of these guys or a few of them, and I'm probably going to win most weeks.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the diversity of throughout the league, you're probably not going to be winning a championship anyway. So
yeah,
whatever. Interesting stuff. We'll see if we can get Maddie on and keep that segment going. I cannot wait for Ted to come because he's got that guy just throws out names and like you actually think you're like, I forgot that was a human being that existed.
Yeah.
Like we'll name him like, oh, that was a good name to pull up, and he'll just pull out names. You're like, I need to know football better.
Oh yeah.
Like he's watched the Cleveland Browns for how many years? So he's been watching a lot of randos too. So
yeah,
he probably has that quarterback jersey that has every name on it. So, how do you feel? Good show so far. I think
always good shows.
Week 1, it was kind of weird. Our very first season, we did after week 1, didn't we? It was like a recap.
Yeah.
Too, I think so.
We were like, there's nothing to talk about. Look at us.
Turns out we knew what we were doing. So anyway, this was our week 1 preview show. Obviously, we're going to have THNO Stars next week, which I'm super excited for. I will do my very best to make sure that we are actually naming random football players again. We might even get Ted on the show finally. He's getting there. We don't want to rush him into too many things, so he's still working on heart rates and all that kind of stuff. So obviously get better, Ted. We miss you, man. I miss him on our hockey show too, so I'm chomping at the bit pretty much every week to do some podcasting and such. So make sure you follow our show, THNO FantasyCast, on Twitter, and make sure you follow Area 51 Network, basically anywhere that you can. And our YouTube as well. The more YouTube subscribers we get, obviously, the closer we can get to doing other things on here. And if you guys have any, like I said, any questions, hit us up on Twitter because, we're likely going to be throwing out our advice. We're all going to be watching games tomorrow night. I can't wait. And throughout the weekend. So it's going to be a good time to get back into everybody tweeting big eyes after, a monster catch. Or there's going to be highlights of the year. Week 1, there always is. There's going to be upsets of the year. Are we going to see Caleb Williams? Is he going to be an absolute stud starting week 1? Is Aaron Rodgers going to make it through a series this time? We just don't know. But it's a new year. Like, that's the one thing I'm hoping for. I'm like, if that guy gets through the first quarter, it's going to be fine this season for him.
Yeah.
But
he will.
Yeah, he's that all that ivermectin will keep him going. So
Anyway,
on behalf of my good friend Steve, I'm Ryan. This is That Helps Know on FantasyCast on Area 51 Network. We will see you on a normal time next Tuesday. This is a special Wednesday show. Next Tuesday, probably 8 o'clock or so. We'll see you guys soon. Happy football, everybody. It's back.